Parental Alienation, Episode 6. In the last episode, we discussed how the alienating parent manipulates the child into thinking that they are the all-wonderful parent and that the other parent doesn't care about them and is abusive. And through that manipulative process, it is very easy to communicate to the child what's the right answer to give mom and what's the wrong answer to give mom. So the child begins to pay attention to what mom wants, because it can be dangerous living with the narcissistic borderline personality. Their rage is very sharp, very intense. And on the reverse side, if you give mom the right answer, you get the opposite from mom. You get a very animated response, signaling to the child, you gave me the right answer. So when the mother asks, how did it go at your father's house? Was everything okay? If the child responds something negative, like, oh, he got mad at me for not clearing out the dishwasher, it's this big animated response. Oh my goodness. Oh. And the child recognizes that the mom loves that. That was a good answer to give mom. Because, mom wants to get all mad. Mom wants to get all upset. Oh, and how terrible things are. But to all external appearances, supposedly, the mom is simply being supportive of the child. They're not bad-mouthing the other parent. They're simply being an understanding and wonderful parent. And that's the communication to the child as well. And so if therapists or attorneys or the judge asks the child, is your mom bad-mouthing your dad? The answer is no. I'm the one doing the bad-mouthing. It's coming from me, not mom. This phenomenon is known as the independent thinker. The child is led into a belief that they are a victim and that they are the ones that are making the criticism of the dad. In addition, the narcissistic borderline personality conveys meaning to the child that the dad or the other parent is abusive. And so the parental outrage from our example of the dishwasher, oh, they're treating you so terribly, communicates to the child that they are the victim. And the mom transfers to the child their narcissistic sense of entitlement and grandiosity. And the child begins a harsh judging of the dad. So the child develops a narcissistic grandiosity of judging the dad from a top-down position. And the sense of entitlement that the dad has to meet my needs to my satisfaction, or else I get to judge him. And here I'd like to share another story. So my brother had 5 children. And when he was going through the parental alienation, he would pick them up for visitations, and every child had to go to a different restaurant. So he spent the whole visitation just driving them through different drive-thrus. And when they all got their meals, he would park somewhere and they would just gobble down all their meals. And when they were done, they just set to berating their dad, telling him over and over and over again how much of a horrible parent he was. So this is the science about. My brother experienced this firsthand. He learned it on his own, and some of you may be wondering where my knowledge is coming from, where my information is coming from. And it's coming from Dr. Childress, the world expert on parental alienation. So we kind of went through it, and then we learned the science. And so I want to get it out there for the entire world. And for some of you who may be going through this horrific experience, my heart goes out to you. I went through this with my brother. So if any of you are listening who are going through this, I'm deeply sorry for what you're going through. And for more information than even what I am providing, look up Dr. Childress on the internet. Okay, so moving on. So when the child is induced into thinking the victimized child role, the child presents and says, I am a victimized child. All of the therapists believe that and go, well, the dad must be an abusive parent. And immediately the focus is taken off of the narcissistic borderline parent and the distorted parenting practices and all of the manipulation that they're doing. The focus is now put on to the dad as the bad parent. And now the dad has to prove that he's not a bad parent. And the focus is put on him. And the narcissistic borderline parent puts the child, out front in this, puts the child out front as a victim, and then hides behind the child.